Welcome everyone to Self-Image Love Podcast. I have my amazing guest, Arlene, certified master hypnotist. Welcome, welcome.
Hi there. I'm so great to be here. My name is Arlene, and the name of our practice is the Art of Magnetism Hypnotherapy.
I love that. Tell me all about the art of magnetism and how it came to be. I just love that name for some reason.
Thank you. I love it too. At first, I thought it was too long, but I was like, I didn't want to change it because I love the Art of Magnetism.
It's
So,
beautiful. Yeah.
how the magnetism came to be is it's a story of transformation and how you transform the negatives into positives on your spiritual quest for success. So the art of magnetisms is based on the principles of personal magnetism and kind of like the universal electromagnetism. So
Yeah.
basically building yourself up and empowering yourself so much that your ability to attract the things you want is just effortless and easy and strong and magnetic.
I love that. It's kind of like being in that playful energy that sometimes we don't get to be all the time. So tell me about what it is about like magnetism and how can we understand more about that for that transformation. And even so we could be in the state of fluid, right? Of ease and flow as we're trying to, now I don't like to say so much trying, but as we're working towards attracting our goals or
All right, let me go ahead and show you.
ooh,
I was thinking yesterday of like, how am I going to explain magnetism and how it works? And I was like, oh, just use magnets.
ooh, beautiful. I love it.
So, this magnet, imagine this is your dream reality or goal or the thing that you want. And this is you right now,
Hmm.
or your old self, the person that you don't want to be anymore. And
Right.
who has weak magnetism or is just lowered. It's a
Mhm.
Cocoa magnet, but
Like lower density, just lower.
the force is not strong because it might
Hmm.
be depleted through maybe your environment or letting people get to you, people criticizing you, or just things getting into your head, or it's self-limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, insecurities, doubts, and these things lower your magnetism.
Yeah.
So, through the art of magnetism, you want to build yourself up until your state becomes this empowered, self-assured, magnetic energy, and your force field is just so strong so that when it comes to so you're energetically in match with the thing you want, and once you're like in it, it just attracts naturally and easily and effortlessly. Whereas if you're going after the desire in a weakened state of magnetism, you might come into contact with it, but it might like fall short and you could shake it off,
Right.
right? Whereas
Hmm.
like this is you, like you are one.
Right. I
And
love, yeah.
is sometimes you're not in the right environment.
Hmm.
Things you want to attract might be here. So imagine these nails are the good positive things you want to attract, and uh this is you, but this is you have to put yourself, take the first step,
Hmm.
yourself in that environment and watch how easily and effortlessly it just comes to you once you take that leap of faith and embrace
Right.
you. And
Yeah.
also, you could be at a weakened magnetic state, right?
Hmm.
Low magnetism, and you still go into the same environment to attract the things you want. But things might not be sticking because there's limiting beliefs, insecurities, self-doubt
Hmm.
that weakening your magnetism. So my work as a hypnotherapist is to empower you and increase your self-belief in yourself so you're strong and vitality and your magnetic force is powerful to attract the things you want because I already showed
That's Yeah, so that I just love that analogy and I love the visual. Like it even makes me want to have my own magnets and even my own jar of to remember like, hey, like am I in a lower density or am I in a higher density? And if I, continue to do the work on myself, um, I will get a little bit more stronger, for more density, more resilience to attract more of the things that I actually want, right? Because it's like also like what you focus upon, you attract more of,
Exactly. And
right?
also about making the decision because it's that charge. What the decision gives um kind of the intention, the charge once you make the decision because oftentimes we feel pulled in different directions.
Right.
And if you're constantly being pulled in this direction and this direction, you're kind of staying the same or listening to one person and another person, but not listening to yourself, then you're kind of staying in the same place and stagnant.
Hmm.
Making that decision, I'm going to be better, I'm going to do this thing, sets the intention to attract even more to the decision is what makes it closer.
Yeah, wow, that's and that's so real because we could be, at times just lingering with an idea or like, a dream or whatever that may be, but we haven't fully made that decision. So therefore, like all over the place, right? Like it's like a low density. We're not anywhere, not
Yeah.
even close to attracting.
Yeah, because the universe is always saying yes to you. It's always saying yes. So if you're saying, "Oh, should I do this?" Saying, "Yes." "Should I do this?" "Yes." Yes, yes, yes. So it's like but if you make the decision to or it doesn't hear like, "Should I? Should I? Should I?" Right? So,
Shoulds, yeah.
or like, "No, no," right? It only hears the thing. So exactly what you focus on, you attract.
You attract more of. Beautiful said. And can you define for us what is a spiritual quest for success?
So, a spiritual quest for success is, and we oftentimes have different spiritual quests, multiple,
Hmm.
but it's kind of when you reflect in your life, and it's kind of like a turning point, a decision in your life that you made to be someone different or kind of put a stop to, I can't do this anymore. This is not me. It's not working out for me. And it's the spiritual, so breaking down the spiritual part is personal. What your definition of success is, not society, your parents, your partners, friends. It's your own. And you first have to define what success means to you because, um, like in my opinion, uh, for example, if a businessman super rich and successful, but his dreams and his desires is to go off grid and away from the world, but he's too scared and holds himself back from that dream, that's not really being successful. And the same with if you're raised on a farm and your family is putting pressure on you to like you need to like watch the farm like someone has to, but your dreams to go off in the big city and be a CEO, but
Right.
you're pulled back and still attached to, people's expectations of you. You're
Hmm.
not, on the spiritual quest for success yet
Right.
until you make
Right.
that decision.
Yeah. So it goes back to making a decision, the power of decision to fully decide if you're going to continue just being in the state of like just feeling stuck, the stagnation of not really fulfilled, right? But yet deciding like, okay, it's time to go on this spiritual quest. And a lot of the times, would you say that a spiritual quest is also aligning with your values?
Exactly. So, it's in align with your values, and then the quest element is knowing that on a quest is a journey, and there's gonna be up and downs and obstacles and different, opponents and friends and guidance and mentors that you're going to face. So knowing
Yeah.
that when those challenges and obstacle comes, it's not going to be a surprise because you know you're on the spiritual quest for success. And
Yeah.
if you guys, I seen the picture of like, oh, you and then success or goal, and on the way it's like failure, failure, failure.
Yeah. The iceberg. Is it the iceberg? It's like in the bottom, or which picture would that be?
Oh, you're like the subconscious, you're thinking about the iceberg? Oh, I was just thinking about like I'll show it to you. But
Yeah.
it's just like a map of your quest, like your road, your journey to your goal, and like the destinations or failures, and just about picking yourself up after each failure and continue on the path to until you reach success and not cutting your story off at the failure point.
Right.
Don't end your
Exactly.
story at the failure point.
Right. Yeah, because it's kind of like the story of Napoleon Hill talks about this, where there's a this man looking for a gold mine, and they buy all this expensive machinery, but they never find anything. And then this random guy decides to take over, and then he finds it right away, like maybe like a few feet away. And it's like they quit really short of like their actual finding their treasure.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
key to the spiritual quest for success is knowing that you already have it. Like the desired outcome is already yours, and going on the path is just materializing it and making it come to life in reality.
Yeah. And how do you sense that inner knowing? How do you connect with that inner knowing of like, especially when you are going into unknown territory, which of course, as we know as hypnotherapists, the subconscious is not very fond of the unfamiliar, of the unknown, or per se the path less travel. But how do you define that, like that feeling of like knowing that this is your path, even though it's gonna feel uncomfortable, and there's gonna be so much self-doubt, and the ego is gonna really kick in of like, I don't know, we should go, we should do this, you know?
So part of the knowing is okay, so if you have low weak magnetism, then a lot of things are gonna attach to you. You're not gonna be
Mhm.
able to repel negative influences, and it's gonna be hard to, discern between what's right, what decision to make, and whatnot. So the key
Mhm.
comes back to yourself as always, and just to empower yourself so much that you have given weight in your own opinions over the opinions of others, how and that's like fueling your spiritual quest for success is through your own affirmations and your principles and whatnot. And so we're all programmed, right, by society, our parents, school, religion, and that's just our baseline. And it's really consciously looking out for new teachers and mentors that have achieved the things that we wanted and principles that really guide us. Like for me, when I was in that period of time, power versus force really uh, put things into perspective. And it's all about mindset first and
Mhm.
changing. Um, if you don't believe in yourself, believe like in the people who have done it, and be careful who you take advice from. Like, do you want to be like them? Have they done the things that you wanted to do? So that kind of
Right.
filters it out a bit.
Yeah. So it's in a way like really seeking towards like, you know, finding those mentors, or those books that are going to empower you, and in a way create more density in that magnetism, so you could start to create more reassurance in yourself and kind of like bring yourself back, right?
Mm.
To knowing yourself and just connecting a little bit more with inner voice. And of course, it always feels like it comes from the heart, right? Like where the center of desires.
Yeah. And it's um being able to know like whose voices are those.
Hmm.
Am I just doing for me it was I knew my path is that of an entrepreneur and it's going to be like trials and tribulations and it's not going to be the normal path. It's going to be the road less traveled.
Hmm.
uh, I physically like it was symbolic and I physically set out on that spiritual quest for success where I packed up all the things in my car and just
Hmm.
off into the unknown as a conscious decision to get familiar with the unknown.
Hmm.
Knew it was part of the process being getting uncomfortable. We all
Yeah.
sucks, but we just gotta do it.
Yeah. So it was like just one day you decided that you're gonna just pack your stuff and then you were gonna just travel.
Yeah, not so simply put, yes, but it took a few tries because the homeostasis, the triggers, every time you want to do something, there's going to be the resistance.
Right.
And that's a good sign because that means change is happening when you feel the anxiety, the nervousness,
Yeah.
no, 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 let's just keep doing the same old because that's what we're familiar with.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And then a lot of those feelings are just temporary in your body. They're just in your body because it's something very unfamiliar. And, you know, and it's going back to homeostasis, is like our body wants to always keep us in what's familiar all the time. And every time we shift into a different direction, our body, we're gonna get those sensations of resistance, of like, I don't know, is this safe or is this not safe? But in a way, also reassuring, your subconscious that it's okay. And even like smoothing out your ego a little bit and be like, I know you're like trying to look out for me, but now I think I'm ready to explore and get into the familiar territories.
Exactly, getting to explore and really embracing the full energy, the playfulness, and not taking
Yeah,
it seriously like the earth is your playground and you're getting that experience and you'll be rewarded greatly for taking that leap of faith because you're investing that energy in yourself, you're betting on yourself, your future self. So
I love that.
this will recognize that.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit more about the full tarot energy, and tell me about the meaning behind it, and how this was something that really helped you navigate these changes towards your quest of success.
So the story of the fool is zero. And I was reading a lot about the hero's journey and how, everyone has their hero's journey. And we start off as a fool. To be a master, you first have to be a student. So
Mhm.
I put myself into that student mindset and just to learn and to make mistakes and just to have fun and not be serious. So and knowing that fortune favors the bold, you'll be rewarded. Don't be scared. It is scary, but you just gotta do it. And the difference, like Mike Tyson's coach and hypnotist, he was a hypnotist, right? So
Yeah.
I think he said this quote where the courageous man and the coward has the same fear, but the courageous man like channels that and fear into his opponent and defeats it, where
Right.
the coward kind of runs away from it. So the feeling is always there, the fear is always there. It's just what you do with it.
Mhm. How you transform that energy, of like, instead of like just feeling that fear, like use it for like something else, right? Use that energy for something else. It's kind of like the concept of like how anxiety and excitement feel the same way. It's just how you project it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because the logical responses of like the nerves, it's like, oh, I'm excited instead of like,
Especially when you're doing something that is important for you, something that matters.
hmm. And
Yeah.
but fear is like, for me, really, like, I see myself as a courageous person. So I'm not going to let this fear, I'm going to overcome this fear. So
Yeah.
run away from it.
Yeah, and tell me about the challenges and what fueled you to keep going. Like, what were your anchors to really help you push past the homeostasis, past that resistance?
Okay, so the challenges come like before the journey, and I feel like it comes once you overcome a challenge and you get settled in your ways and become comfortable in your situation. But us humans, we always have this crave to grow and be better, right?
Right,
So then we kind of become stagnant, and then maybe become dissatisfied with our situation because we're not growing.
right.
So, um, what was the question?
Yeah, so the challenges and what fueled you to keep going.
Yeah, so that's definitely the challenge of feeling like stuck and
Yeah,
people getting and I think for me, it was definitely environment too, because I build myself up a lot, but the people around tend to drag you down and not believe in you. And I had to
yeah,
do cord cutting, and I was just sick of being a slave to other people's expectations and opinions of me. That was just getting rid of caring a lot.
yeah, exactly. And even so setting boundaries of like especially when you're like navigating, that quest, that path, a lot of the times there's like we're changing, our energy is changing. So people around us sometimes feel that like, this is she's not the person she used to be, especially when you're shifting to a whole new direction, and it could be a little bit intimidating, right?
And for them, there's gonna be that resistance too because they're so familiar with seeing you in one role, and now
Right.
you're stepping into another role, so that explains kind of that resistance for them, for the people around you as well.
Yeah. And it's not to say that down the road, from an inspiration, right? For people that in a way like might project some doubt, like later on, once you in a way have hit that path, and you're there, it's like, wow,
Exactly,
it's it's valuable. That's valuable too.
exactly, and I mean, you shouldn't care what they think, but, like,
Right.
but you have to believe it yourself first, so
Yeah.
believe in yourself, people are gonna start believing in you too because you believe in yourself so much. So it's just
Right.
product.
And tell me how can we fuel ourselves with that self-belief, especially, when it's something that is very unfamiliar to most people, like that self-belief that, whether they want to lose weight, whether what they want to find a new job or make more money, how does that come instill in themselves?
So we have to consciously give ourselves like paradigm shifts and breaks. So this book I read, Reality Trans
Mm,
totally changed my world back in the times, probably like
love it.
5 years ago. And it's basically getting your mindset and your perception in a way that's going to serve you. So in this book, it talks about everything you believe is true. Like whatever your worldview is, it's true. So have a
Mm,
worldview that serves you, and then others will argue against you because they are right too.
yeah,
It's true too. So
yeah,
just have a positive worldview. And for me, my affirmations is the universe is conspiring to work in my favor, and everything before me is positive. So there's no reason to have fear or anxiety if everything that's coming to me is positive. Even if it seems negative, it's like a lesson, you know?
yeah, exactly. It's a lesson, and it's also I feel like um sometimes, when we haven't fully mastered something, there'll be someone with an opinion to kind of like in a way test you. Can you talk a little bit about the cycle? It's the cycle?
Yeah, so with everything in life, it's cyclic and it comes in seasons or a certain period. So we might have one challenge we thought we overcame and but it comes back again. Uh, Kind of like the same pattern.
Mhm.
So, and that could trigger maybe like imposter syndrome. Like I thought I mastered this, but it's coming up again. So it's knowing that life is cyclic and not putting expectations or pressures on your identity too much.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that because for me, I feel that I have been very rigid, like growing up, like everything structured, and even to the point where I saw life as being very linear.
Mhm.
But then once I enter this world of personal development and when things start to fall apart, like in my world, and it's like, whoa, I can't be rigid. I have to embrace, like you mentioned, like the full energy and be a student and even invite like the chaos because when you are working towards something new, things are gonna fall apart. People are
Mhm.
gonna fall apart in your circle. Um, but when we are with that chaos, then we're opening up towards new slate, a new path, right? A new quest.
Exactly. And a tip, it's so goofy and funny. But when you're down bad, like just like crying yourself in the bathroom and whatnot, I can put myself in the mirror against like the wall and I'm like, and then imagine myself as the main character and this is the turning point of the movie.
I love that. I love it because I mean we are creating stories for ourselves, right? And we are, I do feel that we are like our own. You call yourself like the main character, or sometimes we play different roles in our own movie per
Yeah.
se. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that, about the power of creating your own story and how can we rewrite a different story when the old one doesn't serve us anymore?
Right. So on the spiritual quest for success, it's fueled by the news stories and symbols you're feeding yourself. So on the quest for success, my affirmation, and you can be as playful and crazy, and you don't have to share with anyone. But I'm just going to share with you for demonstration. Um,
Yeah.
like a post-it note on my phone, on my computer, it would be multi-millionaire, nomadic landlord, meeting crazy sexy space cowboys on her wave of fortune, like crazy stuff. And I was on my solo YOLO road trips, because
Mhm.
my intention that I set out for myself is I'm just gonna drive to I have no idea where.
Yeah.
I would drive like, I don't know, like 1, 2, 3 states in a day sometimes, and I would just like
Wow.
random places. And I would have my anchors and um, these tools that fueled my spiritual quest for success, which were other people's stories, um, books, and principles that I lived by. Because if the old principles weren't serving you, then feed yourself new information that will serve you because your mind is like a computer and whatever script you input, it will output. So if you're inputting inspirational, positive things, you're gonna feel inspired and positive. But if you're feeding yourself like fear, like news or like I don't know, just like negative, low vibrational content, then that's what you're gonna be putting out. So you're not gonna be motivated.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the big key. Like, because motivation comes and goes in waves depending on where you're at, and depending what you're feeding yourself, what you're surrounding yourself with, right?
Oh, yes. And then how you make the conscious subconscious is like by reading these books and slowly these affirmations, and that becomes your new paradigm. That's just you then. That's just your new worldview. So
Right. Yeah, and that is absolutely like so powerful in itself. And it's something that is simple, but it goes back to the power of making a decision of like whatever your quest is going to look like, take a small step, whether it's getting that book or hiring that mentor or those tools that you need to help you move a little bit there towards taking that first step.
exactly. And I forgot to mention like what makes a person like want to take a spiritual quest for success is when they feel, I think I already said this, but when they feel like their self-image is not matching the life that they had. Because for me, I always saw myself as this brave, rebellious person, but
Yeah,
and then I have all these like quotes that live in my head. So I was 24 years old, and then the quote were like, your brain fully develops when you're 25, and I just could not enter the age of 25. My brain developed as like fear, and I could feel myself shrinking down like into a fear mentality and scared of the world and just like pussy energy, and I just could not have that. So
yeah,
that's when I made the decision to uh make a decision to feel brave like myself again, and I went back into my childhood dreams and what I wanted to do as
mhm,
a kid. Because when you're a kid, it's less tainted, your goals are less infiltrated by other people's
yeah,
expectations. So mine was, I wanted a Hot Wheels monster truck. I love monster trucks.
yeah,
And I wanted to be a movie director, which I am now because I direct movies in the mind. And
yeah,
I always admired bohemian lifestyle, the gypsies, even homeless. Like I thought they were so brave in my childhood eyes because it just felt free, free from
right,
societal expectations, free to roam around the earth, and that's what I craved is freedom because I felt so restrained my whole life by
yeah,
yeah, so that's what made me feel brave again. I'm like, I'm gonna go on this trip to get my sense of self back, basically.
yeah,
That was my spiritual quest for success for that season.
yeah. That is so powerful. So you were on this quest to find your sense of self, like find that sense of you back, right? The person that has been seeking that freedom.
Exactly. It's getting my essence back and also reinventing my dream self and knowing the key to the spiritual quest for success is you're already that person, you already have everything you want, but you have to go out and put yourself like with the magnet, like in that environment first. Like you have to take, you're the fool, just take that leap of faith and you'll see the Lord. Look at all the great things you're attracted, right?
I love that. Yeah, and part of part of it is taking the action step, right? Like having the inner knowing of what that quest is gonna look like, but also taking physically that action is not just like sitting there and we being wishy-washy about it. It's also taking that leap, right?
Universe always says yes. So this is you, your old self, and this is your new self. And by taking that action, taking that decision, it gives a signal
Hmm.
where it's like she believes in herself, like she believes in this new life. So we're gonna give her more of this new life. But if you're like,
Yeah,
"Oh, yeah, I don't know if I could do that, maybe I should listen to my feelings or whatever, then like you're gonna keep the universe is gonna give you some of that too.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
I don't know what to choose even more.
Exactly. In the way in the place where you place more action steps, that is what is gonna come to be, the more that you focus on that, right?
Right. And then because you built yourself so much because of your magnetism, it's gonna be effortless and easy. It's like
Ah,
yourself in that situation, it'll come to you for sure.
I love that and I feel that I have just grown so much just in this talk with you. Like it's just you really got me really pumped up.
Glad I'm getting you charged up.
charge right here. I'm feeling the magnetism.
Oh my God,
Um,
great.
and I hope our audience as well could really feel that magnetism and really get that sense of inspiration that, this is our playground, and we gotta also like be playful and have that energy. Otherwise, we're going to just stay in the same place, right?
And another key part of having strong magnetism is you have the ability to repel things that are not in alignment with you or your values.
Yeah.
So it won't even come near you, the things that you don't want because of that force you have.
And how can we do that? Like, for our audience that is listening, like how can they take some steps like to do that, to know how to charge themselves so much with that powerful energy that where everything else just repels. It doesn't even stick to their magnetism.
Exactly. Okay, hypnosis is one way, but generally it's through the subconscious. It's reprogramming it little by little by little, and one day you'll completely shift into this like brand new person, and it's crazy how it works. But what it is, like how you increase your magnetism is where's my where's my magnet? I can't find it. But the weak magnetism is filled with insecurity, self-doubt, and fear. So through hypnosis, we give suggestions to empower you, or even just
Mhm.
read books and have new mentors and feed your brain inspirational content until that's your new baseline level.
Right.
And your magnetism will be so strong, and uh, people can feel it, and people believe in you because you believe in yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's kind of like the mirror effect, right? Like the moment you start to really believe in yourself and your capabilities, then other people start to see that and you start to attract that people where they see that in you. And that is just, and that's how you know.
Mhm. And it's knowing like everyone is right, their own worldview is correct, that's
Mhm.
the truth, but you don't have to accept that, and placing more weight in on your worldview and your belief in yourself versus someone else's, and that's how you build, increase your magnetism.
Beautiful. That is such an empowering tip. I'm gonna take all that in for sure.
Great, and you're such a good job in creating the space where, inspiration and empowerment can happen.
Exactly, absolutely. And I want to talk about anchors. In hypnotherapy, we use different anchors, which is like physical things that we do, whether it's pressing your fingers to give you that reminder, like that anchor, and bring you back into like presence to get back on track. But I just love how creative you are and using your um, playfulness to have like your own anchor and tell me what the anchor is. I love it.
So it goes back to the childhood dream of I love Hot Wheels monster truck. I want a monster truck. So
Yeah,
I was sitting one day in my car feeling uh, fear because I would have all my bags packed up in my car, wishing that I had the courage to drive out of the hometown that like I returned to after college. And I didn't want that life, like, but I didn't feel courageous enough, and I just hoped for that courage. And through uh feeding myself inspirational input, I finally, like, one day that signal switched for me, and I used anchors like this and other symbols. This Hot Wheels monster truck symbolizes like going after your dreams and fulfilling your dreams, that you can do it. And this is for like your child, and I
yeah,
sit on my dashboard, and it would travel. It would be like my little buddy and my companion, and a reminder for your why, your purpose. Because sometimes, like on the path, you experience so much difficulties. Like I got stuck on the uh, native reservations, and I had no signal. In my Honda Accord, it was like some off-road trail you're not supposed to go on. I was just like so scared. Had to like walk for signal. It was so cold, and then there was like animal
Oh
waves,
my goodness.
big ones. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like alone, and when I get signal, I asked for help, and all I got was people getting mad at me. He was like, "You're the one who chose to go
On this path.
on this path." So, oh my God, I was like, "Oh my God, was this a mistake? Like, should I just run back to my parents?" But
Yeah.
the programming, the inspirational content quotes came on, and
Yeah.
this video I remember watching about um, some guy just saying you can go solo travel and whatnot. And when you really want something, the universe is going to throw a hardship at you to test if
Yes.
you really want that. So I had
Right.
that in my head. I'm like, okay, this is the universe testing me, putting an obstacle to test if I really want this and I really want this. So I'm just going to keep on driving forward to like Texas. So yeah, so I just sat there and I called everyone that like tow trucks wouldn't come out, like
Oh
AAA
my goodness.
off road, and then finally like someone was like, "Oh, my friend has a truck," and I sent them my coordinates, and they came out and rescued me. And then I was like, I'm just gonna keep on going.
Yeah. Wow, but in a way, it's like one of those things like, okay, like this happened, and what does that mean? Like it goes like to the law of polarity, like, like you gotta experience this to know exactly, like what you just said, exactly what I really want. Be really clear about what I want, so then I could push forward, right?
Exactly, being like committed to the decision.
Committed to the decision. And it goes back to the power of decision, like deciding, right? Deciding that path.
Not like, oh, I'm just gonna try this out, or
Yeah, let's see what happens. It
yeah,
has to be intentional, I feel like.
knowing. And this is where like what fuels it, because you know that there are going to be challenges along the way. And you know how Air Force pilots, they train you to crash so you don't
Mm,
panic that situation when it comes. So you're
right.
not like preparing to fail, but knowing that like accidents happen and like challenges on the way and being able to handle it.
Hmm. Exactly. Like knowing what, like in a way, preparing your nervous system to know what to do in that instance. And it goes back to that self-resilience, right? Like, and how do you feel, it's a good way to cultivate that self-resilience within ourselves, especially when we want a new change in our life. And it could be something so simple, by just having that courage to take that step and prepare that nervous system.
I think it's going back to the story. It's like the story of your success comes with the failure. So what I do is the faster I fail, the faster I'm going to get to my goal. And I
Mm.
purposely try to fail just to get it out the way because I know it's going to happen. So
Yeah, yeah,
entrance to success is paid by like failure, and like then you just want to get the failures out of the way. You're going to want to fail just to get better. So
yeah.
I like
And I feel that failure has been giving like a very bad connotation, that it just means that you just fail, that you just bad at what you're doing. But in a way, how are we supposed to grow if we never try anything, we never make a mistake? Those are the experiences that click a little bit more. It's kind of like, for example, at school when you're doing math, like you're gonna get the answer wrong so many times, but that's how you like click and you know how to do it. But if you put it back to your life, if you look back, you're like, okay, well, I have to travel all these unknown territories, or now I understand this, now I have mastered this.
and it's yeah, it's doing it on your own because my life I had the problem of people always doing things for me. So I was always robbed out of the opportunity to learn things for myself and do things on myself because it was done for me to make me dependent on them.
Mm,
Make me like you need me. Uh,
yeah,
and I don't like that feeling. It's icky. So
yeah.
That's powder, or that's like why I started the Art of Magnetism too, is to empower yourself from this helpless, dependent person to like empowered and self-sustaining.
Yeah, I love that. And that is so key because at the end of the day, we're the ones that have to, empower ourselves. It's going to come within us and get to the point where we're finding those answers within us and we don't have to be too dependent. Sometimes we do need help in certain areas, but in other areas we have to find it within ourselves. And it's kind of like in hypnotherapy work where we are in a way partners,
Yes.
with our clients. We're partners. It's a partnership where we're not telling them the answers, we're not telling them what to do, we're empowering them, building them up so they have that self-autonomy, right?
I love hypnotherapy because it's your subconscious mind that has all the answers. Like it knows you the best and it has all the answer and it wants to protect you and it wants the best for you. And our job as hypnotherapists is just to lead you to that place so that you can go. It's
Yeah,
that journey of self-exploration, just creating that space for you.
exactly, absolutely. And what can you tell our audience, like what is the step where they could create their own story, where they know that the old story is no longer serving them? How can they start being the director of their own movie per se? I like the word movie a little bit better than story because it's more fun.
It
How
is
can they be their own director?
so how you become the director of your own movie. It starts with imagination and playful energy because that's where manifestation comes from. It's from playful energy, not like serious and attached to the outcome. Be detached from the outcome and know that's going to happen. And it's the same energy of, I don't know if you guys did this, but before like the back to school period, kind of before you're planning to enter back to school, you would be like, oh, I want to dress my hair in a different way or get a new outfit or how am I going to act for the school year? It's the same
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. And I do remember that, like I remember in my younger years, new shoes, like new haircut, and it's exciting because you're starting like a fresh new school year, and it's like, okay, let's freshen things up. And I feel like from time we don't have to wait for anything, but we could start with little subtle um things like buying a new wardrobe, or styling your hair different, or new lipstick, or whatever that may be.
Yeah, and I think the physicalness, it is really important because sometimes you don't feel like it, but if you feel bad, then make yourself look good because it really, your state, that's what matters.
Yeah,
Feel it, even if it's not your current reality. Just in your mind's eye, just know it's coming, and by taking like the leap of faith and on the spiritual quest for success, that's how you materialize the new you. That's all
yeah,
within you. Like, but the key is like knowing your desired outcome in the new you, because otherwise it's not as grounded. You get kind of lost.
yeah. So what would you say that would be a way where I feel clarity is just, clarity could come in different ways, um, but what is the way to really form that clarity where in a way you have a sense of what you want to do, or what change you want to create in your life, but there's always indecision, right? And this goes back to the power of decision, right? Of just deciding and take it from there as well. But how do you create or that some sense of clarity where you're not all over the place and you just stay focused on going towards this path, this quest?
Okay, so you don't have to be too rigid in how it comes, but the essence of it, just like
Mm.
know what, like the essence of what you want, and not really questioning how it's going to come, but knowing it is going to come. and is it clarity? So I think going back again to the childhood, and
Mhm.
what are the common themes and patterns like in your life? So for me, it was I always saw suffering
Mhm.
like just in life and in people ever since I could remember as like a kid, and I grew up on kind of like Buddhist philosophy of like life is marked by suffering, and suffering is caused by your attachment to things, places, emotions, just attachment.
Mhm.
I always made it like my mission to alleviate that suffering in like any way possible. And when I was young, it would always be like to make people laugh or to smile,
Yeah.
a joke, and that would temporarily relieve the suffering and cause a distraction to everyone's like pain and suffering that we're all humans face, right? And no,
Yeah.
that everyone's kind of suffering makes you not really envious or jealous of people because you never know what they're going through. And if you heard about someone else's problems, you'd rather have your own kind of thing. So
Right.
on their own journey. I'm kind of getting sidetracked, but okay. Oh, no, it was about the themes in your life and finding clarity.
Yeah.
So the pain or the theme of alleviating people's pain was kind of the theme, and that's what I'm doing in hypnotherapy too, because it's like relieving from the pain of self-doubt and insecurities and how bad it feels to be so down on yourself.
Yeah.
So you could find clarity in your mission if like in your yeah, in your mission. If it like aligns with your mission, then it's clear that it's a good path, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Will you tie clarity to the inner knowing, like, you know, the like just knowing, right? And how would you say like you will feel it in your body? Because for me, I know that when my chest feels really restricted, it just feels like maybe that's not a path for me. But if it feels expansive, my body feels more relaxed, more at ease every time that I make a decision, and it just feels more free, more like a playful energy. And then I'm like, okay, this was good. Let me make this decision. Let me do this thing because it feels expansive, even though it might be a little bit challenging sometimes, but it feels good. Like it feels good to my soul.
Yeah, so question is distinguishing the clarity between knowing sorry, can you
No,
repeat?
you're good. That was a loaded question right there. So yeah, so it's like connecting the inner knowing with your clarity, right? And I feel inner knowing is more like that feeling you have inside of you, where it just kind of like clarifies, for your mind, and brings more clarity of like this is the path, this is the quest that I want to do, and of course it ties in with the intention behind it, right?
I think what you said is exactly it, like how your body reacts to it. So I guess an example of my thing would be everyone would be like, you need a job, you need to work, like what are you doing? And
Right, yeah.
also, as we said before, is protecting your goals and your manifestations because it's sacred and you don't want people tainting it, right?
Hmm.
The hard part is like, I'm not doing anything and having people see you kind of like, what is she doing? Because you're working
Yeah,
hard actually, and but protecting what's sacred to you. And
exactly.
the clarity. So yeah, so if it's not your own voice, it's deciding whose voice is it
Hmm.
to get more clarity. And also an example is I would have like 10 job interviews lined up and I would get to the job interview and my whole body's resisting and I would be like go
You
into
make that turn.
and then go into the forest, the mountains, and the nature and just be in my playful energy because I knew I felt not like why am I getting a job? Like,
Yeah,
like this isn't me.
right.
Yeah, so it's really just paying attention to your intuition and I don't know, I just had so much self-belief in my time. I didn't really care what other people thought. It wasn't really a concern of mine. So
Yeah. So it was like that self-belief in yourself, like, and that determination to just make it happen, and you were just like so laser focused on it that this was going to be your quest to success, your spiritual quest to success, because you tied in your values, your intentions, and at the same time, you
on
you you
reprogramming.
continue to fill your mind, with the positive things you wanted to your mind, making that more familiar.
Exactly. And then with the familiarity is like these principles, when I fall back on difficult times, like that's just my thinking now. Like over time, your signal will shift and you
Hmm.
don't have to try anymore. It's just gonna be you. Like you don't have to
Yeah,
care about what people think. Like it doesn't even come across your mind. Like,
exactly.
yeah,
That
but
is so beautiful. I'm so grateful for you, and thank you for sharing your heart, your energy with us. And I truly feel so empowered after,
it's so great.
all this.
So much for having me. You created such a inviting space.
Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to doing more of this. And this has been so great. And I will go ahead and put all your links on the bottom, your website, for you guys to connect with Arlene, and check out her website. Her website is amazing. And again, thank you so much. And I'll see you soon.
Yes. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.